Hey, everybody. We've made it to the holiday season. And as always, we're trying to bring you some of the coolest gift ideas for you and your family. Things that are actually going to get you better while having fun and things you can use anytime, anywhere. And as you know, our title sponsor, NHL Sensorina, has just released NHL Sensorina 26, the new season. It's here, and it's the most complete off-ice training system ever built. Again, players and goalies can train with real NHL players now inside the app. Jumping into 3v3 full season games, you can build your own team rosters, collect player profiles. It's a really fun and realistic VR hockey experience. And remember, we talked about this too. You've seen myself use it and my son. The new Dangle Pro stick handling mode. I'm not going to lie to you. This is something I wish I had as a kid. It's really cool. You use a real stick and a real puck, and your head is up. You can do it in your living room, in your garage, wherever you want to do it. And then for goalies, the all-new Game Flow mode delivers nonstop shots from real shooters from programs like UConn, BU, the U.S. National Development Program, Little Caesars, and they have AI players keeping rebounds in play for 3 full periods of a game. It's amazing. Again, we put some videos out already of us using that. You got to check it out. Again, annual memberships right now are 50% off for the holidays. That's the best deal you're going to get, starting at just $29 a month. And you can save an extra $25 if you use our code OKPH at checkout. Again, that's OKPH at checkout at hockey.sensorina.com/OKPH. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's a great tool to train your kids. And I'm not going to lie, you're going to jump into it as well if you're a parent or a coach or someone who loves this game. Now let's get you into something else you love, this episode of Our Kids Play Hockey. Hello, hockey friends and families around the world, and welcome back to yet another edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. 400 plus episodes. I've been doing that. Doesn't get old. We still have things to talk about, and we have some of our favorite topics today because this is a mailbag episode. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know why I did that. I saw the kids do that once, and it sounded good. We're going to dive into this today right away. Got some letters here from fans. Today's kind of a revisit of an episode we did a long time ago. All right, I'm going to tease it with that. I'm going to read this letter right now. The names and the locations have been remitted to protect the innocent. I want to say that because if you have any questions for us, you can send them. We're not going to say your names on the air. Okay, here's the letter. Hello, I have listened to your podcast and love them all. Very educational and insightful. First off, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I am the coach for a U18 rep team for a minor hockey association. I should probably say prep team. I have one kid on my team, well, probably more than one, and he has a very anxious mom who is definitely critical in the car ride home regarding his effort. This player is actually new to the game, 3 years of playing experience. Again, this is U18. And I can see that he is not enjoying coming to the practices and the games. I can see that he has the potential, but just needs time to grow and develop. I have talked to his mom, advising her not to be critical and assured her that he will be fine, that he just needs some time. So I'm looking to listen to your episodes of how to navigate and try to help enlighten kids and how to approach the car rides to the rink and from the rink. So then he asked to find those episodes. I did send them to him. And I'd really appreciate the help so I can re-listen and try to see if I can help educate and make the game of hockey fun and exciting for the whole family. Thanks and best regards. And I'm going to say it again. This letter made the three of us think that we have not revisited the car ride is not for coaching for some time. That's one of our most popular episodes of all time. So I got the letter, Christie, Mike. I thought it would be a good time to revisit this, maybe even add on to it a little bit. But I think we all agree, Christie, the car ride is not for coaching.
Right. Let's go over the basics. The advice that we gave a couple years ago has not changed.
Not at all.
We give it every year. The car ride is not the place to dissect a game with your child. A lot of reasons for that. If it was a game where they performed poorly, they didn't do their best on the ice, they know that. And they don't want to hear it in the car ride home. They need time to just unwind, figure out what went wrong. They don't need you in their ear going, well, if you went ahead and if you passed the puck or if you took that, that's the last thing they want to do. It causes anxiety with your kid. It can, kind of make the relationship a little tense. When you get home, you're not going to feel good about what just happened. It lingers. So what we always did after a game, what do you want to hear? What song do you want to hear? Hey, what do you want to do? Hey, do you want to go to the mall? Do you want to go out for ice cream? Anything but the game. But if they bring it up, fine. If they want to talk to you about what they did, hey, Mom, I really Did you see what I did out there? Fine. Then have a conversation. But yeah, don't dwell on it. That's my advice. There's my hockey kid walking by off
That's
to
awesome.
school. Off to school,
a live
right?
sighting.
Car rides, not the place for advice, right?
Have a good day, Sophia.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Wow, a
Off to
live
law
sighting of
school.
one of the kids. That doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, off to law school. She's nodding her head the whole time. Yeah. She
Yeah, I
knows.
mean,
Yeah.
Christy, I think you're absolutely. I mean, so I think the hardest part about these kind of conversations is the people that need to hear them don't listen to our show.
Right.
So I
True.
think like my experience, the car ride, is not for coaching. Like the other day, actually, I almost hit the guardrail because I had the coaching board out on my lap, and I was trying to show my son
In the car, Mike?
In the car.
Oh
Yeah,
man, that would have been a fun story if you got pulled over. What were you doing? Were you on your phone? No.
pulled over. I almost died. I was going off the side of the road. So so it's more. It was more. So there's a lot of negative pieces about using the car ride to coach. But I think one of the things too that Christy mentioned that I think is the positive, if you are going to be in a situation to discuss hockey with your kids in the car, is be consistent.
Right.
Like be the same way in a loss as a win. A big win, a horrible loss. If your kids are those players that want to ask and bring it up, you have to go both ways. You have to be able to say, the positive things and the negative things. But I think the biggest thing is don't dwell on the wins or the losses. I think that's the key, is to be as even keeled and you as the adult having the opportunity to sway that conversation. Christy just said that, like, you might say, oh yeah, it was a fun game. We had a great experience. So what's going on with classes tomorrow? Let's go home and get your homework done. Or, hey, let's make sure we go, what are we doing for dinner tonight? Or, I think it's getting off the conversation, because it's so unfair for a kid to be stuck in the car. They can't go anywhere. They can't even storm off on you, right? I guess
Worse
they can
than
put
the
their
penalty
headphones
box.
on and turn the music up, but it's just an unfair situation to put your kids in, because they really have nowhere to go and nowhere to get out of it.
Well, I have to say real quick as a public service announcement, do not drive and coach. Okay. Don't ever do that. Mike just told you some of the dangers of that. Although I'm going to say it again, if you got pulled over, that would have been an amazing story. What were you doing? We were going over a 2-1-2 forecheck.
Well, I would have showed the
ref.
angle.
Show
The
the
angle.
ref.
I would have been like, listen, this angle. Don't you agree?
Don't
that
you
this
agree?
angle
Yeah.
is
Come
wrong?
on, sir. Come on, sir.
The wrong
Everyone
angle.
knows this.
If the officer was a hockey dad, you'd get out of the
Yeah.
ticket.
I've gotten out a lot of tickets. I've gotten out a lot of tickets in Syracuse for being a hockey guy, so I'm
There
in
you
good
go.
shape.
He might pull the kid out of the car.
Work.
Get out of the car. Listen to this. Do not drive and coach. The other thing too is this. I want to dive in because the person who wrote us this letter is asking for advice and help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go over a few things with this. Let's explore the why this happens from a parental standpoint. Okay. Number one is because you care about your kids. Okay. Like
Sure.
let's not sugarcoat that. You care. If you didn't care, you wouldn't say anything. All right. So I do want to kind of just at least check that box, right? The parents who talk to their kids do care about their kids. Okay. That's the number one. Number two is that I find it's one of these two reasons that you feel the overwhelming urge to coach your kid. And I will preface this, that I feel that urge. Okay. But this show and these two people here, my good friends, have actually seasoned me, conditioned me to not talk in the car. And I don't. Okay. But here's the deal. Reason number one is you played, and you, I'm using quotations, you know what to do. Okay. You very well might know what to do. It doesn't make it okay for you to coach in the car. All right. Because if you're not meeting your kid where they're at, if they're 8, 10, 18, doesn't matter. You're not that age anymore. And whether you know or not, you're probably not meeting that kid where they're at. Okay. And you're probably potentially not even their coach on this team. We'll get into that in a minute. Number two, and this is real talk. This is one you all have to kind of look inward with this, is that you feel like your kid's efforts or performance on the ice is a reflection of you as the parent. And that is always the hard one for people to swallow. Okay. And all I'm going to say is no judgment. You have to audit yourself if that's happening. And I'm going to tell you right now, outside your kid being a maniac on the ice, no one's judging you based on your kid's performance. Nobody. I don't judge any parent based on the performance of their kid on the ice or anything like that. I do sometimes judge based on what I see parents doing to their kids away from the game. All right. Which I probably shouldn't do either. Right. We've all yelled at our kids at one point or another. But I find those to be the two reasons why you do it. Now, just to follow my thought, we'll go back to the panel here. I have the urge to coach my kids in the car after every single game. I want to put that out there. All right. I'll be super vulnerable with that. It's really hard for me to tell myself, shut up. Okay. But I've gotten enough reps in with this now that when I get to the car, I just kind of know how to not do it. And the funniest thing happened, Christy, that I stopped, I kind of don't do it. And guess what the kids 80% of the time want to talk about, right? The game, the practice. My son, the goalie, will ask me now, unprompted, will ask me about the goals that went in and how he could have done a better job or what I saw. And it's a very two-way conversation. I'm going to tell you, as a father and a coach, it's one of the most rewarding things in the world that they trust me enough to come to me. With that said, sometimes they do not want to talk about it. Actually, my daughter got in the car the other day and say, Dad, can you play Ride the Lightning by Metallica? Proud father moment. Okay. I'm trying to enjoy this period of time as much as possible. But I remember I just said, yeah, of course we can. Right. That's what she wanted to do. All right. Mike said it. Christy said it. It's not fair to lock them in a closed space and start telling them everything they did right or everything they did wrong and talking about it. It's not our place to do that. And I know there's parents out there. I have to let them know. I must let them know. It's for each one of you to gauge, but I would make the statement that there's not many moments in youth hockey you have to let them know. Right? Without them prompting it. So I'll throw it back to you two. That's my spiel. But those are the why. That's the why.
Some of the best memories have been after games when you've gone, especially after win, with other teammates and you've celebrated. And then you can go off in the corner with other parents and dissect the game and let the kids have fun. Fine. But yeah, some of our best memories have been post-game, even with losses. Sometimes it helps to heal the little hearts when you're all together and you're kind of not commiserating, but just as a team. Hey, we lost as a team. We won as a team. We lose as a team too. And it's not any individual's fault. You also have to make sure the kids know that it wasn't the goalie's fault. It wasn't the defense. You play as a team. So you always try to impress that upon the kids.
Yeah, I think I thought about this question a little bit, from the perspective of, how can we help this coach? And, what advice would we give when all else fails, because I think everybody these are common sense things, right? Oh, you don't bring it to the car, don't commiserate, don't just talk about wins, maybe, be in there for losses. But I think maybe another way to strategize, especially for a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, a young man, woman that you hope, are learning better ways to communicate with adults.
Right.
That maybe you could give that player some prompts prior to getting in the car. Like, maybe they can initiate the conversation because they know it's coming, right? So maybe they could be, like my son does, like, this is kind of the running joke in the house. Like, if I want my son to do something, he'll always revert to, well, Dad, this is about hockey. So then I just let him do it. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's hockey, then if you're watching hockey, then don't worry about your homework. Or if you're watching hockey, then don't worry about stacking wood. Like if you're doing hockey, like then I kind of change my whole demeanor, right? But so I think learning to coach. So my kids have been able to get smart enough to go, oh, I know how I could shift him very, very quickly. And maybe we need to tell the kids, these 16, 17-year-old players, maybe you can shift that conversation. Maybe you can initiate hey, Mom, I'm getting ready for this. What advice would you give me on this particular thing? Or, hey, Mom, because sometimes they'll be like, I don't know. Yes, your coach. Like, I know nothing about the game. I don't even know what you're talking about. So instead of this always being a negative back and forth, maybe turning into a collaborative effort where maybe the mother, in this case, can be, the player could be coached to approach the mother in a way where he said, hey, Mom, I'm going to practice today and the coach has been telling us to do this. What do you think about that? Right. And I don't know. I think maybe it brings the guard down a little bit and maybe just helps the player feel like they have more control over the conversation rather than the conversation always going to this negative place.
Yeah. Well, I think the parents
turn it around. I like that.
Yeah. I should say this too. Like, parents, we just want to know the kids care. right? Like we've had this conversation too. You're spending a lot of money on this. You want to make sure your kids care, right? So that also brings up another interesting point though about there is a fine line between coaching in the car and talking in the car, right? So one of the conversations that I think blurs the line is about effort, right? Are you putting forth your best effort? The argument I would make is that's not a conversation for the car ride home after the game, right? Because the kid's not going to retain it.
Right.
All right. So that's another part of this. I have conversations with my kids about effort. I don't necessarily consider that to be coaching them. I'm just talking about life and putting your best foot forward, and what makes me proud as their father and how this applies to other things. I don't know if that's quite coaching. Now, if I say, and this is how thin the line is, I had a conversation recently about, it's just about bringing your best of what you have every single day, right? And I say that applies to life. That's when you get older in school. To me, that's how I say it, okay? And parents, listeners, you can please feel free to tell me if you disagree with any of this, okay? This is just me. It's a conversation. I think where it crosses the line is where you go, on the power play, you didn't do this and you didn't put forth effort. Now, that's a totally different conversation in my mind, right? Because now you're applying it to the game. You're applying it to a situation in the game. That's coaching, all right? And there's no life lesson there for the kid. It's just you didn't try hard enough. All right, which parents, we all know kids love hearing that. They love hearing that they didn't try hard enough, right? So I think that's another thing too, is really understanding, like, what's the life lesson in what you're trying to say? And do you need to say it right now, right? Because there is a positive way to do this. Another thought, Mike, you just made me think of this too, and we're going to keep giving advice here, is that everybody's raised differently. So every parent listening to this, you have all come from different backgrounds, all right? And some of us were probably raised in a situation where, maybe we were yelled at or we were taken care of, and we have this mindset, well, it worked for me, it's going to work for my kid. And I always say, you got to be real careful with that, because your kid is not you. They're not you. All right. Every kid is his own individual person or her own individual person. And they may be motivated very differently than you.
Right.
All right. So I would, this is my belief. And I'm going to say it. There are people who disagree with me on this. Okay. The car should be a safe place after a game for your kid. All right. In the sense of this, I just wouldn't want my kids to feel the pressure and the fear of coming to the car with me to go home after a win or a loss. Like, that's their chance to decompress. Like, it's just not the place I want them to feel bad. All right. And look, I'm not talking about the situation your kid got in a fight and 2 game misconducts. Like, that's a different weird situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, you have to have a talk in that situation.
Sure.
All right. But I don't want my kid leaving the arena afraid to get in the car. That's poor form, in my opinion. Anybody disagree with that?
No, I agree with that.
No, but I think that's the whole point here, is that the parent that's doing this is a very hard parent to reach,
100%.
because it's the same parent that you see like in the rink, and you see them in the stand. I guarantee it. Like, it's the same mom that you see in the stands with the eye rolls and like, can you believe it? Or this person, right. I can't believe that. It's the same people that, that the kid is like, oh boy, I got to go. Like, this is going to be my trip home. It's the same kid that probably doesn't come to the team building events on time, and the mother and the father aren't, promoting.
They don't need that stuff.
A better team.
They don't need that team building stuff.
It's just it's a very hard. I don't know the player. I don't think. It sounds like somebody I would know, but I don't know the family. And I think at that age, where you mentioned this a little earlier in the conversation, that the pressure and the expectation, it's no longer like a recreational, fun, cute thing that your kid can't skate, or that your kid's not the best player, or your kid's not like achieving at the highest levels. Because now you're looking at basically they're playing and then their career is going to end, because they're just not reaching the expectations you think they should be reaching. So it's a really difficult time, because it's the last time you're going to be in the car with your kid in this age group.
Yeah. Again, this is U18 we're talking.
Where you can think you could be any bit influential. And every parent that I've ever talked to, and Christie, you're experiencing it now, people would die to have that opportunity back, to be in the car with their kid at 17 years old.
Mike, that's
so. I think it's like that opportunity is wasted on a parent like this who can't appreciate the fact that this is such a short period in a window of time that, they're really gonna, they might not miss it. Maybe they'll be like, oh, my kid's a jackass and I hated him anyway, or they're gonna say, I love my son so much. I thought I was doing the right thing to motivate them, but yet all it did was push them away from me. And I think that's a really hard conversation to have with a parent that hasn't experienced it. And unfortunately, it's always the parents that experienced it after the fact that wish they would have done this.
Right. Good reminder. This time is so fleeting. In the blink of an eye, here I am. I have two, 20-year-olds, no longer in ice hockey, but still fond of it. But I can look back, no regrets. My husband was very good at this too. He would give them pre-game ritual coaching. He'd say, do your best.
Yeah.
When you see that opportunity, go for it. He would get them pumped up for the game. But he would never deflate them after the game, win or loss. If their performance was good or bad, he always kind of stood back and let them take the lead for conversations. And if they asked him, because he knew all about the game, I just kind of sat there and I would pipe in once in a while. But he was so good strategically in what they could have done better, but would never offer that information unless they wanted to hear it from him. Yeah.
Right. I think this is also a really good time to dive into one of our other most popular episodes, which is what should you say to your kid before a game? I'm just going to say them real quickly. It's I love you no matter what happens out there. Work hard, skate hard, get better.
Yeah.
Right. And then I love watching you play.
Right.
Unprompted, these are the only three things your kids should be hearing before a game. And
Right.
Here's the other thing too. I practice what I preach. I say that before every practice and every game. My kids will tell you that. All right. I also think I think it's important to mention this. I don't think if you ask my kids, they would say that I'm easy on them. Right. I think this is an important distinction here. Just because I don't coach in the car doesn't mean I'm soft on them as a parent.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, that's just my parenting style. Like I know for a fact they would not say, "Oh yeah, Dad's just doesn't care. He's soft. He doesn't." Yeah. No. They say, Dad pushes me. He makes me want to work hard. Makes me want to work hard. All right. Everybody's got to go that journey a different way. And again, Mike, you alluded to it too. It's a tough conversation because you care. You care about your kids. Like I don't think, but any of these parents don't care about their kids. So another quick action item. Coaches, I don't know when you're listening to this, but your first meeting of the season, do not underestimate saying to the parents, hey, the car ride's not for coaching. Let us coach your kids. If you have questions, let us know. Don't coach your kids in the car. It has a detrimental effect. All right. And then give them this episode. Give them the other episode.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think there's a lot of parents. This is very new to them.
It is.
I mean, they're navigating this without any real guidance. So they're doing what they think is the right thing to do. Okay. I'm watching the game. You stunk up the ice, and I'm going to tell you why. Yeah, and you can't wait to get him in the car and tell him that.
Christie, so, I'll give you actually a specific example of what you're talking about. So when you start in this game, right, the game's very fluid. There's not really systems. There's not even really positions, right? You're just floating around. So it's easy as a parent to say, well, I want them to skate hard. I want them to put forth the effort. And I don't think it's an incorrect message. You want them to love the game, but yeah, you want to play. Then suddenly you get into Pee Wee, and there are systems, and there are power plays. And I'm going to be very blunt, parents. Most of you do not know the tactics of the game today. I'm not saying that lightly. I know some of you do, but I'll hear parents yelling at an F3 high, which means that the third forward is in the slot or high. Get in there. Why are you just standing there? Exactly. That player is doing exactly what we need them to be doing. Yeah. And you don't know. And here's the thing, parents. It's okay that you don't know. It's completely okay that you don't know. All right. I do find that the parents that are curious of, oh, hey, why are you so high in the slot? Then the kid teaches you. And that's actually a really great experience.
Exactly.
Right? Get in there. It's like that. And that's not what we want them to do. Yeah. So that's just another note from a coach here of when you get into systems or your kids get into systems, take a step back or how about go study them on YouTube? It's not hard to fit. You can go look this up too.
Sure.
All right. The other thing too, Mike and Christie, I just kind of realized this. We've been doing this show for 5 years, and my son specifically, I'm already halfway through the journey. Like, that's how quick this happened. I'm halfway through his youth hockey journey. When we started this, he was a first-year mite. He was just starting out. Now he's a peewee. And I forgot which one of you said it was fleeting. I think that was one of you said that. Yeah, man.
I see it now.
yeah. I mean, I'm halfway through with my son, right? And
crazy,
halfway to being out of the house. All right. I'm not high-fiving, by the way, right now, people. It's actually kind of a terrifying thought. But it shows you how quick this goes. And I'll throw it back to you two here, but if there's anything I have learned from being on this show, from coaching youth hockey, and keeping in mind the coaching process as a parent is very different than the coaching process as a non-parent. Okay. But it's a few things. One is that it takes a long time to cook a hockey player. The development is not fast. It is and it isn't, right? Mm-hmm. It's slow in the fact that it takes 6 or 7 years for them to really get a grasp. But it's also, you'll be amazed how much better they get in 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Right? That's a little bit of a paradox. But it takes time. It just takes time for these kids to mature as hockey players. And I think, we always want our kid to be the superstar. And it's not likely. And the thing is that there's so many aspects of becoming a superstar that you can't just get in 1 year. So patience, coaches, patience, parents, patience. Do not coach your kid in the car. It's advice. Don't do it. Coaches, tell your parents to not coach their kids in the car. Just say it. Last piece of actionable advice for me. One of the coaches I work with gives our kids hockey homework, right? It's a little bit of the younger age, but they give them hockey homework, and it could be something like what motivates you or what's something we're going to work on next game. And then we say, hey, tell your parents in the car, this is what you're going to work on. So we prompt the conversation for them, and the results were very positive. Like, kids were coming with it written out on a piece of paper because they all understand homework. That's another thing you can do. I don't know if that's going to work at 18U. And Mike, to your question, if you know this person, they said minor hockey, so they're in Canada. All right, so I don't know if you know them or not. Usually, if they say minor hockey, that's usually not stateside, but we'll find it out. Anyway, back to you guys. Or did I close that out on my own?
I think you closed it out.
Yeah, no, look, I'll just say this, folks. Again, I appreciate Mike and Christie. It's hard. I do want to end on this note. It's really hard not to want to tell them everything you see.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
It's hard. Like, I want to acknowledge that it's not – you shouldn't normally just be like, oh, I didn't care. But I'm going to tell you this right now. The rewards of your kids prompting the conversation far outweigh any reward of you telling them without them asking you. All right. If they're initiating the conversation, they want to hear, they want to retain it. There's a 98% chance if you're starting it, they're not listening to you.
Right.
I'm being honest with you, especially if you're yelling at them. They're not going to listen to you. All right. In fact, you're pushing, Mike said it, you're going to push them away. All right. And the long-term effects of that go beyond hockey. All right. You think they're going to put your grandkids in the car with you? All right. Or worse, what happens if the grandkids get in the car and you're awesome to them? Then the kids sit there like, what the hell? Seen that one too.
Right.
All right. Any final thoughts?
In the letter that you got, the mom being very negative.
Yeah.
That's a good point to raise too, because you think the kids aren't paying attention. You think that it's not going to trickle down to them. That negativity will definitely impact them. So that's the other problem. We need to raise that as well, because that's what that listener was pointing out, that he can feel the negativity with the kid. Why? Look at the mom. You know, she's so negative. So yeah, it does. Your kids are paying attention to you, what you're saying, what you're thinking, how you're behaving. And in the stands, we've had many conversations too, post game, about behavior of parents in the stands, and kids just shaking their heads. What is going on up there in the stands? So, they see it. Don't think they're not paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same advice we give the coaches. I mean, after a loss or after a win, they're in the locker room. If you give a 15, 20-minute speech, nobody's listening to you. Right. Nobody cares.
You can see the kids.
It's like, okay, get your little points in, bang, 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 get out of there, go have some ice cream. I don't care what age it is. It's just a matter of, you got to just pick your places to have your conversations with your kids. Because I think there's a lot of great hockey people out there that probably can offer a lot of great advice to their players, but just, be in a good place to do that and be in the right environment to do it. And then you'll get an impact out of it.
Well, and
Like
I'll end this on a quick story. I remember coming home from school every day and my mom asking me, how was school today? I remember telling her one time, this is at me as a kid, Mom, the last thing I want to talk about after school is school. All right. Now, as an adult, my mind, I can see why she wanted to know now. She just wanted to have a conversation. I think most of you out there feel that way too, but you got to meet your kid where they're at. Probably the last thing they want to talk about after a bad game is the bad game. Right. So just something to think about.
Yeah, no,
okay?
It's human nature, right? Like my worst experience, I think, was last week when I made dinner, and then I was critiqued for 20 minutes after dinner about how bad the dinner was. And
What'd
you make? Wait, we got
it wasn't good. But all I'm saying is like it was like, hey, 90% of the time, Dad, your dinners are great. We love your dinners.
Right.
This wasn't your best dinner. Like this one, I won't even eat. Like I don't even know what you're trying. And I felt so bad. I'm like, wait a minute. I just had the dinner. Like I did all this effort to make the dinner. I think I think my effort was great. I put in a lot of effort, and I followed directions and I cooked it like I thought it should be cooked. But now you're not satisfied with that. I don't want to hear about it for 25 minutes after dinner.
Right.
It's too late, right? Let's go order out and then we move on. So it's the same thing. It's any human nature that you're going to get into. Do you really think your son or daughter wants to hear how bad they were after they just played poorly, or how great they were when maybe they didn't play that great? You're like, oh, like my son would be like, Mom, I really didn't play that great. There's no reason to praise me. Like this is unjust. So it's just the car is not a great place to do it. Yeah. There's so many different other places you can grab your kids and sit down and have a cup of coffee, and then they could have a slushie and you could talk. But confining them and subjecting them to them not really being able to have any kind of way out is probably the least advantageous to where you want to get your message to.
Yeah, that reminds me of the funny story. Somebody had written the kids in the kitchen with the mom, and he's telling the mom, you need to stir faster. Mom, you got to crack those eggs harder. Mom, you need to put it in the oven faster. Mom,
the kitchen is not for coaching.
Right.
Just remember that.
You don't need Martha Stewart over your ear in the kitchen all the time.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of The Car Ride is Still Not for Coaching. Listen, love getting your letters in here. If you have a letter for us, you can email us, team@ourkidsplayhockey.com, or if you want to text us, there's a link in the description accompanying this episode. Leave your name, where you're from, any questions. We love these episodes, right? We always said Our Kids Play Hockey is a conversation. Maybe it's a little bit of a how-to guide now as well, but this has been a great episode, guys. I'm glad we were able to talk about it again. For Christie Casciona Burns, I'm Mike Benelli. I'm Lee Elias. You've been listening to Our Kids Play Hockey. Give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you're listening to this. And share this episode if you need to. They're meant to be there to have those conversations. All right, gang. Enjoy your hockey. We'll see you in the next episode. Take care. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. Make sure to like and subscribe right now if you found value wherever you're listening, whether it's a podcast network, a social media network, or our website, ourkidsplayhockey.com. Also, make sure to check out our children's book, When Hockey Stops, at whenhockeystops.com. It's a book that helps children deal with adversity in the game and in life. We're very proud of it. But thanks so much for listening to this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey, and we'll see you on the next episode.